Alrighty. Ngatai Hetet. So, I hope I pronounced that right. Ngatai and I met on a freediving week years ago. And for context, that was actually the week I can say truly I fell in love with freediving. So, holds a special place in my heart, Mount Gambier. But when I think back to why Ngatai in particular stuck around in my head, and I say this with no prejudice or judgment, even though it might sound it. On the face of it, Nata is like a very normal dude. Kind of not someone you'd pick out of a crowd necessarily. I think a lot of the time we try to make ourselves very special and whatnot in the way we dress or talk or act, but I don't think he's necessarily doing that. At least that's my perception. So quite clearly, he was just this normal guy. He was a disability support worker, and anyone who does that for a living has got something good in them, right? Or really hiding it. The one thing, and I did mention this, is that we had a long conversation about UFC, and this might mean nothing to people, but the pound for pound number one, Alexander Volkanovski, like the best in the entire world sport at a brief period of time, or not so brief period of time, is actually his mate from playing rugby in the early 20s. And he did not even hint at that being the case the entire time we were connecting and talking about the UFC. And I don't know about you. I mean, I would definitely, that's probably what I'd lead with, right? Like, I know myself. So I think that just really saw his character shine through for me in a really impressive way. I don't know. I was very keen to delve into his story on a deeper level and a more detailed level. And again, this is kind of revealing perhaps my own ignorance and privilege, I guess, but a storyline of kind of the streets and growing up in the streets, I've always relegated to America. I I don't really think about that existing in Australia. It's only recently that I've actually, come into contact with that kind of side of things, and Ngatai definitely has plenty of stories from growing up in the streets of an Australian kind of small city. So, and alchemizing that energy over the course of a couple decades into what he is now, which is a phenomenally loving father, takes care of himself, takes care of his wife and his kids. Uh, he posts a lot on social media. He's actually garnering a bit of a following, especially a local following, and it's so positive, which is awesome to see because you know how social media is. We don't need to bang on about it. Swipe down your feed and just see again a normal guy giving it a crack and injecting value into your day is it's all good. And I have a lot of respect for this guy. I'm so glad we could sit down in a beautiful setting for a couple hours and unwrap it all. So without further ado, this is Ngatai Hetet. All right.
That's how we do, bro. All good.
Thank you, Bruzzy.
Yeah. All good, buddy.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, brother.
Ngatai Hetet?
Yeah. No,
Saying that
Hetet.
right?
Yeah, good.
Hetet?
Yeah.
Hetet. Awesome. Thanks so much. I've been looking forward to this one actually a lot because I think your story is epic. Now, to put in
Thank you, bro.
context, no, you're welcome. Put in context, right now you are a loving father. You live in a beautiful part of the world. You have not just a family of your own, but you also seem to be a kind of community father figure in a sense and helping young kids, young marginalized maybe kids figure themselves out and maybe be that father figure for them. If they didn't have it, teach them how to fish, teach them how to do that. And we'll get more into what that looks like soon.
Yeah.
But it hasn't always been that way. And if anyone does go to your Instagram, the first pinned post, I think the first sentence is, I was 8 years old and I got in a punch on, 10 I was smoking, 13 I was stealing cars.
Yeah.
Is that where the story begins?
Yeah. Well, when I come here from New Zealand, in a town called Huntley. It's pretty like a rough area. My mum wanted to move here. My dad was drinking a lot. And so we come over here for a better life for us kids.
Yeah.
So I've got 4 siblings. And yeah, we moved to a town called Rilla. My auntie was living there. And that's where I've mainly been brought up in here in Wollongong since I was 8, 9 years old. And sort of when I was younger, just trying to find friends and following everyone else. And in around Rilla where you live, it's pretty low economic housing commission areas, and a lot of kids just, get bored and do whatever it means to make a bit of money, because we didn't have much money growing up.
Yeah.
We obviously had a roof overhead and all that kind of stuff, the basics, but when it come to like buying clothes, or for us kids especially, or new bikes or anything like that, that wasn't really a thing for us.
So are there any stories that pop to your head of just getting into that zone? Because obviously it's so long ago for you, and it's probably hard to imagine what that version of you was thinking and how they were perceiving the world. But are there any stories or any thoughts or ideas or that can paint that picture a bit?
Oh, just, what do you mean? Like,
as in like that kid, that version of you, right?
Yeah.
Because that was you, right?
Yeah.
That is looking out, doing weird things. What's the story to just paint that picture? Like, what were you? What was going on?
I was just following everyone else, pretty much.
And what was everyone else doing?
Like, yeah, same thing. They were just following everyone out, and everyone, older guys would be, especially my older siblings and that. I remember there's like a time we're walking around Rilla, and my older brothers and those friends, they're stealing lawnmower
Stealing
equipment.
a lawnmower?
Yeah, stealing lawnmower equipment in the middle of the day.
What?
This is
how much can you get for a lawnmower?
Yeah, like back then, $50 or $100, a lot of money. They would get the whippersnipper. Like I remember this picture. These 2 guys, their business, like Jim's mowing.
Yeah.
And they're there mowing the lawn at the front, and we're all walking past. They got the trailer with all the lawn mowing equipment in it.
Yeah.
So my brother goes in and grabs the whippersnipper, and another guy grabs like the blower, and they start running down the street, and the guys are running after him.
What?
That was just a normal thing. You realize everyone's just trying to make a little bit of money.
This is kind of what I mean, because, and just to put, I guess, my perspective in context, coming from pretty leafy suburbs of Melbourne, no one I grew up with and know is even computing that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So
for me, that was just,
that's normal. So you mean, like, what do you mean stories? But stealing whippersnippers is completely strange.
Oh, that's just the least of it. People would be stealing cars, and I wouldn't have much money to eat during the day and that, so I'd go to Woolies and I would literally duck hot chickens in my pants.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
okay.
just to like eat, me and my mates and that.
Shit.
Do
you mind
clothes? I would steal clothes off people's clotheslines.
Do you mind me off the clotheslines themselves? Do you mind me asking? And again, I'm sure because it was you and because you're so different, it probably is a bit uncomfortable, like getting really into, oh, this was me and is that true? Like it's a bit, but hang on, I was just following everyone else. Yeah, it's different. But
yeah, just
for instance, like just out of curiosity, how does one go about stealing a car?
Same thing. I was just older guys I was hanging out with. They were just, I don't know. We're just young, and at the time I was like, I want to know how to drive. I was 13, me and my mate. I want to know how to drive, and to get an opportunity to drive. So we didn't actually steal it. The other guys stole it. They dumped it, and me and my other mate found where they dumped the car. So we put the screwdriver in, kicked it over.
So it's a screwdriver job.
Yeah, put a screwdriver in
the ignition.
In the ignition, yeah. And me and him at 13 cruising around Marilla, thinking we own the car, like going the speed limit, doing indicating. We're not driving it like it's stolen. We're driving it like we actually own it. And all the older boys are laughing at us, like, we're watching you. You come to the stop sign, you'll stop, you indicate like properly, We thought it was like, oh, this is the best. How cool is this? We're laughing, like, yeah. And then
even that's so interesting.
Had to burn it out at the end because of our fingerprints and all that stuff. But
even that's so interesting though, because it shows that you were in the wrong crowd doing the wrong things, but that was just your vehicle to get access to doing the right things.
okay, I don't have the resources and the environment to learn how to drive a car properly. These people are showing me how to learn to drive properly, but I still want to drive it properly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was it. When you're like that young, you want to do, I feel like you want to do older stuff, like a lot of riding motorbikes, for instance. We'd ride motorbikes in the street. If we didn't have a motorbike, like they'd steal motorbikes, we steal motorbikes. And obviously I'm very remorseful for what I've done. And I was just young and follow everyone else or just didn't really think. Didn't really think. What am I like? Just do.
Yeah.
Just do. And there's a few instances where I'm not proud of, because when you get older, you mature and you like look back at it and go, fuck, did I really do that? Like, the worst one is I stole someone's pet at the front yard. Yeah. I feel bad. Like, there was a dog at the front of this house and, we took it. I was 13, 14. We took it, man. And we ended up selling it back to them. Yeah. It had like a big reward sign saying lost pet, family pet. But I'm for 13, 14. Didn't think. And then we think, oh, hey, look, they want the pet back. We'll sell it back to them.
How much was the reward?
I think it was like $200.
Mate, that's actually, I've never heard of that, but ransoming pets is actually genius.
Make sure no one does it, though, please. Young lads out there, don't do any of this.
Super creative.
Stuff.
Wow.
But that was sort of the life. I was actually all right kid, like growing up, and then I'd have like two sides of me. Like I'd go home, I'll study and that, do my schooling. I did do my year 12, but then the other times I'd be hanging out with guys trying to make money or just bouncing between friends as well.
Yeah.
A big believer in your product environment. So once I sort of like broke away from doing, the stealing or doing any of the crime and that, and hang out with a more positive group. And there's nothing on them. Like they were just doing whatever everyone else was doing, you know. So I just try to surround myself by positive influence, you know.
Just before we move on to them, real quick, when you're doing these things, because I remember in my school, and again, like the game that we were playing was different. Like so, like my version of stealing someone's dog might look like, you know, getting a detention in your private school. Like it feels the same for that kid, but it's obviously very different in the real world. Do you feel like cool from that? Like, was there an element of that as well? Like,
I felt like one of the boys wanted the dog, and I went over there and I was like, yeah, I'll get it for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. To try to be the big hero or whatever.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm leaned over, I just grabbed it. Come on, let's go. You know? Just like exactly. I thought it was going to be cool. All right. One of the older boys wants the dog. I'm going to get it for him.
Yeah, but it's so true because I think that all I hear when I'm hearing this is that, and it kind of makes me a bit sad for kids who are in that, because there's different, as you say, different groups you operate in. And a young boy is always often going to want to be rebellious. But if they're in this little world, their version of rebelliousness, again, might be stealing the cookies from the cookie jar at home from their $3 million house. Yeah. And that's just as bad for them in that world as you stealing whippersnippers and lawnmowers and cars. Yeah. So it's not like the kid's any worse or better necessarily, but the consequences for them in the real world is so much worse. Before we move into like the positive groups and stuff, in those bad circles, maybe at the time or since, have you seen people... Well, one thing you said, I saw this somewhere, when you're trying to like turn around youth, there's two relevant factors. There's your circle, like people you hang out with. Yeah. There's also like split decisions. And you've talked about that already a lot. Like these are just quick decisions. I'm not really thinking them through and thinking them forward and future pacing them. Did you see other people make decisions that you probably could have made yourself and that went really wrong for them? Or did you all kind of get out of it?
Oh, no, there's some still, a lot of the guys that are with, see, I wouldn't say I was the baddest. Yeah. I was sort of just followed and then, you know, did some shit that might think I'm cool, do this, you know. Because I had like two sides of me, right? And then there was a few split decisions where I had to do, all right, I got a big high-speed chase I've written in my book. And
wow, really?
Yeah, there was massive high-speed chase. And that was a split decision where I should have not hopped in the car. And I had that feeling, you know, when you get that feel, I had this gut feeling like I'm not going to get in. I'm at the point where I was like, I need to stop doing stupid shit. Need to stop. Just need to stop. Like,
so you were a passenger in a high-speed chase?
Passenger, yeah. My mate, he picked me up. And the same thing, I was like not getting into that. So that was like a opportunity where I've already had that feeling of not, like, this is it. Like, no more of this. And I survived the chase. That was it. I didn't get into another, stolen car.
Okay.
For that to happen was like, then another episode happened and that was it. I was like, no, I need to start hanging out with like a better friend, like not better friend, just a more positive environment.
People that don't get you in.
People don't get me in trouble. People that I don't go follow, you know, but more like here, going to the beach, and this is what I was getting in. We'll go on the beach, playing touch footy, get positive outlets, you know.
Nice. So yeah, how did that look? What age were you when you
16.
started? 16.
Yeah, 16. But then like 17, 18, 19, like still had those traits in me. You know, I was jumping taxis a lot. I wouldn't have much money for taxi. I'm not paying for a cab.
What does that mean?
So like you catch a cab somewhere, and you just run and don't pay.
Okay.
Heaps of them.
And back in the day, you can't just get the Uber bad rating.
Nah, you get like sometimes you go where we live to town, and we hadn't had enough money for our night out. We would go spend our money, and then we'd got no money to get home, so we'd have to get a cab home, which is a good half an hour, $50 cab ride. Then we'll go to an alleyway and run.
Yeah.
Not proud of that, but and sorry for all the cab drivers. I actually ended up making friends with one of them that I jumped.
Nice.
Good, yeah. But I think it was just, you know, that's the thing when you're growing, like you get more mature and you sort of think about these things. But yeah, like go back to the question. A lot of the guys that I was kicking with, they eventually woke up as well. Yeah, you know.
Were you one of the first?
80%. I'd like to say, yeah, I was like sort of one of the first.
Yeah. And what did that actually look like? Like, was it through sport or?
Sport, weights, the gym. Yeah. Going to the gym. I just love going to the gym because I wanted to build muscle, that kind of stuff, hitting the weights. Rugby league saved me heaps. I made so much good friends at rugby league with Rilla Gorillas. I always played rugby league, but like, what's
that video you've got on your? It's like an interview.
Sweet potato.
Yes. Yeah.
That was actually Alex. Okay, he told me because when he was fighting.
Yeah.
And we didn't know enough about diet. And then Alex said, like, I think he's on his fighting camps, and we're talking, what do you eat? He's talking about like the diet. You know, we were eating Maccas and all that kind of stuff before footy and that. And then Alex is saying, you know, you gotta. I eat like sweet potato. I eat like properly during my camps and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started eating like the sweet potato before footy and that. He's like talking about low GI, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what's that? Like bananas, like sustained release energy. So I started eating that before footy. And then, they had the interview.
Start playing a hell of
a lot. Yeah, they had the interview. They're like, we're group 7, Australians interview. Also, you know, you're an angry man on the field, but you're pretty calm, like off the field and that, like, you know, what do you do before footy? You know, what do you eat? And my mate in the background's going, oh, he's on steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the rage. I'm like, no, I've never taken steroids. I said, no, just sweet potato, you know? And they started laughing.
Oh, it's so funny. I mean, imagine if you said taro and stuff. Call yourself an islander.
Yeah, sweet potato, mate. So
that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned Volk because I've told people this story before when I was describing who I'm interviewing.
Yeah.
Now, we met a few years ago now in Mount Gambier on a freediving trip.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, but I distinctly remember this. It was about 40-minute drive to the swimming pool.
Yeah. I remember in the car, yeah.
So we're in the back of the car. We're in the back seat, and there's this tiny little Russian girl in the middle.
Yeah.
Poor girl, because you and I.
They say,
like really squeezed in, and somehow we started talking about the UFC. And I was especially then crazy into the UFC. Yeah. And we're talking back and forth, this, that, you know, who's your favorite fighter, this, oh, you like Izzy, you like Volk, blah, blah, blah. Never in this point did you mention And it was only when I later, after this trip, saw your Instagram and realized you're like best mates with the fucking pound for pound #1 in the world.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? There's like, when he won his belt, I think it was in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And there's a photo of you fucking kissing him. On the
Giving a hungy, I think. Yeah, the nose to nose. Yeah.
And I was like,
No, I didn't mention nothing.
it's not that that's so cool because everyone has mates that do awesome things, but I was just like, it's not very many people who would have that connection and at that depth and then not mention it in that conversation. I thought that spoke volumes of your character and who you were.
Cheers, mate. Yeah.
Seriously, yeah. How did you meet through rugby or?
School. We're actually at the same school at Lake Illawarra. Actually, I'm Mount Warrigal, we're at Lake Illawarra.
Yeah.
And then, same thing, like he's one of the boys I used to hang out, the positive group.
Yeah.
You know, through rugby league. So, under 16s, I backed up, he was playing 18s. And then, like, all into grade. And then we all just hung out at the beach, every weekend.
Yeah, cool.
Every weekend, if we were all going out, like, that was a group that a positive group that I was more surrounded with.
Nice.
And yeah, we won a premiership together and still really good mates now.
Yeah.
Most of the crew that were from the footy are all really, really good friends still.
Yeah, sick.
But he's the same, same humble, same person. And he's, like I said, really good human.
Yeah.
A lot of his traits I look up to, a lot of his values he has.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Did you feel when you're operating in that good boys group, let's call it, and then you also have the bad boys, right?
Yeah.
And you're kind of foot in both camps. Was there any part of you, maybe it was because you were like from New Zealand, maybe it was because of this and that felt, I don't fully belong in the good boys? Like part of me like has to. I think there's one video where someone said, all your family's gone to prison or something. Like, did you feel like this is where you were belonging and it was almost, I need to break out of this to get into the other one?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, because my dad, my brother and my sister all went to jail, been in and out of jail. And I've always like, nothing on my sister, my older siblings, but I looked at it and I was like, I don't want to go to jail. But I have like been locked up in holding cells like a few times.
Yeah.
Alcohol and, doing silly shit. But, I've always had like, for me, it's like just to train your mind and to say, do you want to go down this path?
Yeah.
A lot of us do want to go down this path because you're the only person that's going to look after yourself. The only person you're responsible for your own life, and that's what I mean about with your environment as well. Like you still have choice, and same with like the boys that I like to hang out with. They all had a choice still, we have to be accountable for ourselves and no one else is going to save us except for ourselves, to be honest. I feel that's massive. And then, all the temptation, all the surroundings, that's got to be down to you. You got to have a choice. You got to make that choice. It's going to be positive or negative.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And that's just through all life, like it's just continuous. You can have the environment you're around and the choice you make is what's going to shape your life, really.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I could do it when I was like younger, at 16, 17, 18, but it's still learning.
Yeah.
Still learning. Now I'm in my 30s. I'm still like learning the right choices.
I guess it's always a bit grim when you see someone who went too deep into that bad side of things too early and almost in a sense screwed themselves.
Yeah.
Do you think there is like redemption for people who have done something that potentially is like too far, like screwed themselves over? To
better themselves or to do better for the wrongdoing sort of thing?
If you think of yourself as a bit of a redemption story, I was stealing cars, I was doing this, but look at me now, like I'm a positive impact in the community.
That's another good thing is what I've been trying to be like a better role model. Because there are, like for me, I feel like there's a lot of kids out there or young men, even men in their 20s, they're still trying to find their feet. They still don't, know like where they're going, or they're just probably following everyone else too. And I just need to be like, all right, this is what I've done. These are mistakes I made when I was young. It's got a lot of people that are going to be relatable. And I feel like doesn't matter like where you're growing up. I've been growing up in like rough areas in New Zealand, rough areas here. You still have the opportunity like everyone else, and don't feel like you don't. And for me to be like, all right, this is my story. You can see where I'm at now and where I've come from.
Yeah.
That could be, so I just want to make a more impact.
I guess it can be difficult, I think, because if you're choosing, again, just to break it down to these polarities, the bad path.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. It's like quick gains. It's like I do this action, I quickly get some money, or I quickly get some attention, or, you know, whatever it is. Whereas the other path, doing the right thing, might actually not give you much for the start.
Yeah.
Maybe the long-term payoff is a lot, but again, if you're thinking this, I want something now because I'm in the shit. Is there anything you tell young guys, or a message you've told yourself the whole way of having faith that it is worth it?
I just try to, all the guys, I just try to guide and be like a better example. Yeah. So like you said, you can make the quick money, make all that, but what you get quick goes as well. Trying to it's a journey. It's a journey. And for me, the journey you take, like in life, it's got to be, you're going to have your ups and downs, right? You're going to have your ups and downs. So if you just keep grinding at it, eventually, if you really want to really want to change yourself or change in a positive way, like you will.
Yeah, cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, nice. So take us back onto the timeline of what's going on. So you're in your early 20s and you're playing rugby.
Yeah.
And by this time, you know, the sport's really helping you and you're getting into that good group, but you're still, you know, jumping taxis and stuff at this point. Like,
yeah.
I'm just trying to paint the picture of this, like this balance, this play, you know?
Yeah.
And then kind of take us through the 20s. What's going on? How's this evolving?
Well, footy, I love footy, like it's drinking culture.
Yeah.
You know, it's
play
fun.
The big game on Saturday.
Play a big game, go out, party with the boys. You're pretty young too, you know, you just started going to town and so
the girls like ya.
Girls, you're out there chasing girls, playing footy. It's just, that's it every weekend. And then, like some traits that I had younger, gonna, be like, oh, you know, why pay for a cab when you can just jump one? And then it just becomes a habit. But then I'm glad the cab driver, he, knew who I was and spoke to me and, it was actually like, I felt bad when cause no one, like, this guy's making a living, you know, he's like, don't think you're drunk. I just need to get home. I'm not worrying about them. They're trying to make a living and you're there jumping the cab. Like, come on. Like, so that's another thing as well.
How
so
long?
20s.
How long
then I played footy till I was about 24.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm going to say this, when I was in my 21, like my dad passed away at 20. And so I sort of had to be like a father figure for my brother as well.
Yeah.
My youngest brother, he was like 14. And just try to be a better role model for him. I finished playing footy and I had to get away, actually. I had to get away because I had a lot of breakup with my partner at the time. So 20, 21, 22, 23, like when I had my dad passing away and me going through like a breakup, I just went rogue, man. Like I just partied hard and got on the benders every weekend.
Wow.
Like I was known as like the party man. I just loved to have fun and go to work during the week and just on the weekend escape. Oh mate, I'd spend $1,500 just in like 2 days.
Whoa!
So 3 days, no sleep. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then I'd go to bed. I'd miss work Monday, make up an excuse that something happened, and then I'll do that next weekend. Then next weekend.
Was that fun though? Like, it's got to be fun. That sounds crazy.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
You're allowed
It
to
was
say,
fun. Yeah, it was fun.
I think this is an important
But
part
when I was
because it's
young,
like
fun. Yeah.
when you talk about drinking, for instance,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of movements towards not drinking anymore and stuff, and that's all
Yeah.
good and positive. But anyone who says a night out is less fun when you drink is just not had a good night out drinking.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like-
Most of the nights I had were pretty, very fun.
But I
That's
think-
very depends who you're around with too.
Yeah. Because I think
But
it's
it was-
important to recognize that this is all good. Like,
Yeah,
because if someone listens to this and you're saying, no, I wasn't, this is better having a family and kids and stuff,
Yeah.
they're like, you're an idiot because it is fun. You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Whereas if you're like, no,
Yeah.
it is fun, but hang on, this
Yeah.
is even better.
Yeah,
That's a powerful message, right?
yeah. Well, when you're young, in your early 20s, like you're in your I don't know, I feel like that's your time to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say, man, I've had the best times. I've had the best times.
Are there
You
any
know?
stories that come
I
to your
just-
head or is it all just
Oh.
one big blur?
Oh, man, there's that many. I'm pretty loose. I used to run through the mall naked and stuff, like just that loose. I used to, we did like Santa pub crawls. They were the best with all my mates. So start at like a house 9 a.m. and
Yeah.
would ride in our Santa suits and
Santa pub crawls.
Santa pub crawl. Yeah. And then
Okay.
we'd ride there's a big Santa pub crawl in Wollongong.
Yeah. What
So-
time of year is this? Is this around Christmas? or-
Oh, this is near Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Silly season. They're the best times, isn't it? Best times. You're down the beach having a few beers with your boys. I'm not going to lie. Had mad. It was mad fun. It was mad fun.
Do you mind me asking, just because he's a public figure, if you were bendering and partnering for years and years, where was Volk in that? Was he just,
He'd come have fun too when he wasn't
Yeah.
training.
was
100%.
he naked through the malls as
Nah.
well?
No. He's pretty professional. But yeah, no,
Yeah, cool.
he would come have some fun too. Yeah, he'd have some fun too.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, but in your 20, but yeah, in the,
But even
in
then,
the-
like, tells me like a better version of letting off that young boy steam than stealing cars, right?
yeah.
You are quite clearly evolving and maturing and getting
Yeah.
better, even if it doesn't feel like it maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. He's better.
Mm.
He's better. And I met heaps of good people, you know.
Yeah.
Through my party times.
Yeah.
And especially when that was the thing. I was like partying hard. Like I'm telling you, like for 2 years, I planned it on having a bender every weekend. Like it was a plan. Like what are we doing the next day? Where we kicking on? It was always, and it was like competition, you know, like I'm the bender king. I'm not sleeping for days. Like no one else can outdrink me.
The bender.
No one else can outdrink me. That was my mentality. And
Yeah.
it was always like that.
Are you still known? Like, obviously this is 10 years later and you're a dad and stuff, but if you're in a cafe and you just see some guy or girl that was in that time, you know,
Yeah, they would.
and they have a kid as well and you kind of laughing
Yeah.
at each other, like, look at us
I used
now.
to have a name, Nuggy 2 Pump. Nuggy 2 Pump. That was my Facebook name. I used to do heaps
No.
of funny shit.
Nuggy 2
Wild.
Pump?
I was wild,
Is
yeah.
that what I think it is?
Nuggy 2 Pump, yeah. And I was a wild man. Like, I would get on Facebook the next day and on the bender, and then I would have like videos of me just wild. And then I'd go overseas and do some wild shit over there. And
Yeah. Because this is also when you're backpacking, right?
yeah. Yeah, I was doing some wild shit before I met Mrs. Mrs. knew about it, but so bless her for not being scared, I guess. She was a blessing, yeah.
Oh dear. So that's a cool period. So around 24, when you stopped bendering every weekend, why?
I was just going nowhere sometimes there.
But
And then
people-
I remember a few times my mate I was living with, we would have some run-ins because of my bringing the whole pub back home. Like we all live together, and I'd bring the whole pub home and pour, you know, and I was like, man, like I don't want to, he's like one of my best mates. Don't have a relationship because of my stupid shit. Every weekend, like poor lad, he couldn't sleep. And I just said, I got to get out of here. I got to go sort of, I did the FIFO work. I said, I got to go just get out and move away from here and do something with myself pretty much, which is good too. Like saved a bit of money. I bought a house,
Wow, congratulations.
investment property. And did heaps of traveling. So I had money to go travel. So it was really good. That helped me.
Did you have, because bendering like that is quite clearly going to be fun. So I'll get my pen. So what idea did you have in your mind that made working hard out on the mine and saving up this money and buying a house? There's a lot of sacrifice.
I thought it was a big sacrifice, but it was a little accomplishment too.
Yeah.
For myself and to my family. Like, I want to be the first one in my family to buy a house, right? And that's what I set out for.
Nice.
I want to be the first one in my family to buy a house. I'm going to work away, sacrifice, make some money and buy a house, which I did, but I don't know, it didn't feel, I felt accomplished, but I didn't, I don't know what didn't feel that like success. I don't know, like how do you feel it? I don't know.
You probably romanticized it when you're out on the mine. Like, this is going to be the best thing. Oh my God. And then you buy the house. It's like, I'm still.
Same. Yeah. It didn't feel like, and I know like I don't know. I'm not like a show off or flashy person. So people didn't even know I bought a house.
Mm.
I didn't even post it up or nothing. People were going, did you end up buying a property? Yeah. They're like, well, where, like, I was like, oh, I just bought an investment property in the Goldie and I don't have it now. I sold it.
Yeah.
But I should be more proud of myself, but I don't know.
You're still looking for something, right?
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I wanted. My mind was fixated on traveling the world at that stage. Buying the house, yeah, sweet. That can be a little asset. And plus, I didn't know much about property investing anyway, so I probably bought like a wrong property. They don't know, you know. I thought you always hear people go just buy a property, investment property, and obviously, yeah, I was first person in my family to buy a house. I was first person in my family to get my HSC. Those are little small things I wanted. My personal goals. First person to travel lots of countries, be overseas and travel by myself. But done that not almost 40 countries now.
Wow.
I'm in 40 countries.
That's
so
sick.
yeah.
That's epic.
So that's probably one of my highest accomplishments that I really love, that I can say that I've traveled that many countries or been in that many countries, backpacked by myself, stepped out of my comfort zone. That's probably the best.
Do you have any idea? Because again, like that's what I mean. It is a powerful story because that world that you grew up in and in some sense were destined for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've broken out of.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can look at or feeling that you got of like why you and why not the next guy who looked like you from the outside? Like if the world looks at you at 10 years old or at 15 or 20 and looks at the next guy's doing the exact same things, why are you different?
Oh man, I really just looked at, like I always just looked at what I didn't want. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you went blind to it.
Yeah, I went blind. I could see my brothers, sister, they're going. I've seen what they're doing, see what everyone else is doing, and it's like, yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Even though it's like doing stuff that's leading me to it. The cops even saying to me, "You're just going to end up like your family going to jail." You know, always telling me. And then that was probably a good thing too, because proving them wrong. As well as another thing. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see. I didn't like the cops.
Yeah.
They would come over home, would tell them to F off and what do you want?
Have you met them since? Like, just like the cab driver? Have you met?
Yeah, the cab driver. I still see him.
Have you met any of the cops that told you that?
No, I haven't really seen them lately, eh? They know who we are. My family's like well known with the police.
Yeah.
It's funny because they used to come over home. They're like, "Oh, Mr. Hetet," my dad would say, "F off, what do you want?" You know. And then my dad would say, "Go, someone at the door, tell them to F off," and it'd be like the cops, you know. But as I got older, the cops are just like normal human beings. I actually wanted to be a cop, but then I seen how they would get treated. I'm like, I'm not getting treated like that. Or when they'll go and like give tickets on the highway and that, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Crazy, yeah.
So I actually applied for it. Applied for being a cop, and then that was another thing I wanted to get my HSC. But like you said, yeah, I'm sort of destined. If anyone sees me, they'll be like, all right, he's obviously just going to end up like the rest of them. And, but I just didn't want that. I don't want that. And I'm not going to let whatever around me shape what my life's going to be like, you know?
Yeah. It's, mate, I back it 100%.
Yeah.
Now, speaking on your family and stuff, I think the last few guests have all been immigrants, actually, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like every immigrant especially has almost always a powerful story.
Yeah.
What is it like being, it was 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
And suddenly landing in Australia, a new country?
Luckily, I feel like, because where I'm from, you got to sort of be tough to stand on your own 2 feet. Like I knew I had like tough older brothers and family, like a pretty tough. We've got heaps of family that are in like gangs in New Zealand that are, and you sort of got to be tough. We're like warriors, you know? So you're bred to be a bit tough. It wasn't that bad coming here. Like the second day I was here, I was already fighting 2 Aboriginals at the back of a shop that I used to hang out with. And they later being my friends, you know? I wasn't scared, that kind of aspect. So you sort of had to.
8 years old, scrapping in the back of the shops.
Yeah.
That's quite the image.
So you sort of had to have that sort of. It wasn't that it was a good, like for me that young, I was ready for the new, like the chapter of like what's it like here. I've always, I don't know, maybe because I'm young, I've always loved exploring anyway. I'll always love challenge.
Yeah.
You know? When like for instance, when I was going to South America, going to Colombia, I wasn't scared of that, you know. This is when Narcos is on Netflix. And everyone's telling me, don't go. I'm like, have you been? No, I watched Narcos. I'm like, oh, you have no idea then, you know. Like people get scared. Yeah. I went to El Salvador by myself. They're like, oh, mate, MS-13, the toughest gang are there. I'm like, oh, well, we'll just go check it out and see what happens.
El Tunco, the surf town, you'll be right.
Yeah, I went there. Yeah. But, yeah, so like when I was younger, it didn't. Oh, I had all my cousins coming here too. So we sort of always feel all right. I had older siblings and that. And I know, new country, you know, different.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we come here. Wouldn't have my kids, wouldn't have the experience I've had.
Yeah, cool.
You know?
And I guess, but as you said, you're like back in New Zealand, gang culture, all this family stuff. Are there any other influences and effects of that upbringing that are part of that story of like holding you into the bad side of things and breaking away from that?
For like a positive guidance sort of thing?
As in, are there any other aspects of that culture? I mean, even just your dad, like, fuck off and all this stuff, like.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, I would say, oh, yeah. I don't know, like all most of my family, they're all like, they're all like.
Cause like my family, for instance, and I think most families to some degree are like this, there's drama there, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I hate this person. We did business with this thing and like that it didn't work. And again, it's different stuff, but I think it's interesting to hear how you speak about your family influences, because for me, it might be things going wrong in business and not liking people. For you, it's like, well, they might like each other, but it's friction isn't internally in the family. The friction is between the family and like society itself. And that's just a very unique. It's a unique, for me at least, way of looking at how a family operates.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense at all, but yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. Well, what kind of, I don't know how to take that question.
Yeah.
In my family, I'm going to tell you my family in a positive. My family, like, I'm going to be, like, I had some, when I was younger, I'm going to be honest, I had some like aunties and uncle that took me in. My dad went to jail.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I stayed there. So they kept going to school and they kept me on that sort of, positive path. And my other aunties and uncles, that's like always there, there for us. Cause what happened, my mum and dad separated and she took off to another country as well. So we had like a broken family, my immediate family. Dad went to jail. All the kids like had to look after themselves. And so I had aunties and uncles look after me. I For like role modeling sort of thing, I looked up, I don't know, how do you think? Took some from my dad, like a few things, the positive aspects, and I took some positive aspects from like coaches or different other people in my group, or I looked up to, sporting.
Yeah.
Sonny Bill, when he was playing footy, I was looking up to him while he played footy and stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Okay. So where do we get up to? We're 24 and then we're a few years into FIFO. We're traveling. We bought a house. Late 20s now? 30?
Late 20s, my buzzy. Yeah. Come back. Late 20s. Late 20s, we done a lot of traveling. Yeah. And then I actually met my partner and we started seeing each other for a while. I met her at my mate's wedding, actually.
Oh, lovely. Wow. That's a good, the love is in the air at a wedding, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Funny story how we met. It was,
is it a story for the podcast?
Oh, I don't know. This is how funny it was. Like I was Nuggy 2 pump back then, right? Wild.
Ridiculous.
And I'm doing a speech at the wedding, telling like, cause the dad, I'm good friends with the dad, my father-in-law, which is a great man. I got a lot of good values from him.
Yeah.
And I was like mucking around with him, like, oh yeah, I heard it. Tennille, my wife, she's back at home because she lived away. And I didn't really meet her. I always seen photos of her at the house when I was there, because both my mate would like, where's this girl? They're like, don't worry.
They don't want Nuggy 2
Don't go near her. But my partner must have seen videos of me. And then, anyway, I met at the wedding. I'm doing a speech. And I'm telling the dad and the brothers, oh, I've heard Tennille's coming back from the back room. I could probably move in, like just mucking around. And then freaking out. I honestly didn't think anything. I would just end up getting together. When I went traveling to Asia and then come back. So that's around that period. And then we were seeing each other for a bit, and I still had that traveling bug in me, and I said, I'm not sticking around here. Like, either come with me to travel. I want to do South America, North America. But she didn't want to come. She had like other things on, and then I just ended up going. 7 months.
Wow, yeah.
And then obviously come back. She didn't want to bar me, actually. She didn't want to bar. She's like, F off. She felt like I let her on for the whole year or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, I wanted you to come on, and then she didn't want to bar me. We got back to seeing each other again. And then not long later, pregnant. And I didn't know, like this, she said she couldn't have kids.
Oh,
right?
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, no worries. Like, obviously, I don't know what I'm doing with my wife anyway, so I don't really I wasn't thinking about having kids.
So Nuggy 2 pump's not being too careful then.
And then, friggin', it just had a miracle happened, and we had our first baby, Aurora.
That's so special.
She told me that she wouldn't have kids, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna still be with you. She said I can't have kids. Like, and obviously, I don't know. Yeah. And I was thinking, I don't really think I want to have kids either. I just want to travel and live life,
Yeah.
But yeah, this happened, and I think she was worried when she told me. She thought I was going to leave her because she had pregnant. I'm like, come home crying. What are you crying for? I'm pregnant. I went, oh, that's mad.
Yeah.
And
that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mad.
Because, I mean, you definitely post about it on social media a lot. Like, you just seem like such a dad, like such a father figure.
Yeah.
Was there any part of you, because even now it's beyond your own kids, and as I said at the start, it's through your business and stuff, but was there any part of you in those first, how old were you, 29 or something?
29, 30, yeah.
In those first 29, 30 years of your life, was there any part of you that already felt like taking that kind of dad-like position?
Yeah. Always felt like had a little bit of leader in me. Yeah. Leadership in me. Always had, I think my dad always told me, don't be a follower, be a leader. I was just, even through like, and like my mates, even when I broke away from the thing, right, the crew, I would break away from the group. A lot of people won't leave their friends or whatever because they're scared of not having any friends.
Yeah.
You know, even though if it's not a positive environment. But I just, you know, broke away. That's like a leader. Like I've stopped being a follower to be a leader.
Leader of your
So
own life,
when I see like other guys, because I don't know, I have this gift where I can see that there's people that have more potential than what they actually are, I feel. And I always try to talk to them, like always like give them guidance. Hey bro, you should do this. Come train. You know, I always try to, you know, not long ago, my mate just got out of jail that I used to hang out when I was young. I go, what are you up to? You know, how you been?
Wow.
You know, keeping out of trouble. Go, come train with me if you want, because he likes the training and that.
Yeah.
But obviously he gets hung out with the wrong people. So I've always had that. Always try to talk to the guys I feel like, even my older brother, you know, I'm telling them, mate, let's do this. Like, I don't like telling people what to do, but I just try to give them the guidance.
Yeah.
Like, try this.
Well,
you know?
I mean, you were that voice for yourself by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So you really developed it internally. Yeah.
That's what I've been like, obviously trying to build now with me, now I Hetet, and then my outliving stuff is just to be more positive influence, to be a guide and to show, look what he's doing, you know, like, look what I used to do, but look what I'm doing, you know.
So did you start your own Instagram before Outliving Adventures?
Yeah, just my personal, you know, back in the days, post photos, like a Facebook social thing.
Did you start like the videos you make of like telling, like, you know, I'm going gymming, I'm doing jiu-jitsu, all that stuff? Was that before or after?
That was, probably after.
Okay.
I had Outliving on my business. Oh, this is, what we get up to for Outliving Adventures. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And now I had, it was just a personal thing.
Yeah.
Until it started, you know, I'd make videos and try to get like a bigger brand and be more awareness, you know, not just always trying to post out something of value now, not just something just for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, but obviously for me to watch.
It's not like an advertising of look at me, I look so good in this holiday pic.
Nah, I don't want that. Because I want to be more impactful. Don't we all? Same as you. You want to be more impactful. That's why you want to do this.
Yeah.
I think in the world we live in, the more impactful as a positive you can be to someone, the better, eh? The better world we're going to leave, the better the legacy, the better, to change someone's life. Just from like, I get like, you go.
No, go for it. Yeah.
Just like, I get one message of a guy and they will say, hey bro, like I'm loving your content, like having a bit of head noise, but seeing your stuff, it, you know, picks me up or makes me want to, you know, get my shit get to gear, you know? And that's it. It's like, just for making a bit of a...
It's worth it now.
Why not use it? Because a lot of Instagram's all full of shit, you know? Like, social media is a lot of crap.
100%.
But you want it to be, I feel like, people want to watch it, or take something from it. And build from that.
What caused you to initially... Because it's great, but it's also a responsibility. You're going to cop judgment. It's hard work as well. Like, what impelled you to even start?
I think with that being the mentor with Outliving already, and then, oh man, like, well, we should go back to when I left my construction job. I was having a lot of doubtful questions.
When your partner's pregnant, you're still working construction?
Still working construction, yeah. So, and I was working local, doing 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. But I knew inside me that, man, I got more to give, man. I want to keep doing this, you know. I'm looking at the future, like another 10 years of this. Come on, like I'm not getting any fulfillment out of it. I'm not making a positive, and I feel like I got more to give. And I'm not really happy doing this, you know. Not really happy like doing it. Obviously, when I worked away, it was that my escape. It was like, oh yeah, do 2-3 weeks of work and you get to go on holiday. Yeah,
but now it's just...
the grind, wake up early, miss out on my kids, seeing them grow up, go home, sleep, pretty much, you know, repeat. It's a cycle every 95, you know, talk about. So that's when I got in. I'm like, I feel like I'm more of a social person. People tell me, you know, you're a people's person. You can, you know, the social sort of thing. I got into the disability work. And that's how it sort of started. I left my job. Went out of my comfort zone. I said, nah, stop. I want to try something else. And I just, you know,
that's pretty wild though, because it was only a few years before that you're two pump.
Yeah.
And then you're helping disabled people, old people,
young, disadvantaged, youth,
Again, people who grew up with you, those cops, that cab driver must be thinking, wow, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's pretty blow. Even I got to look back and go, I do. Always, I don't know, for me, I always look in the mirror and I have to be proud of myself. But for me, I'm always looking, what more can I do? What more can I do? Instead of looking back and going, look.
I've just had this question pop up in my mind that I probably should have asked before, but maybe I was trying to before. Those kids, teenagers, at least my perception of them that are doing bad things, often have role models in that bad environment, like whether it's rappers in the US or a certain, arms, I don't even know, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever buy into that at all? Did you ever want to be like this person or that person, this gangster, this rapper?
Nah, not really. I love the music, but I didn't really, buy into that.
Yeah, okay.
So
there's never been a part of
that, the music.
Yeah.
The music aspect, I like the music, but it was never, I think like I said, it's with social media these days, and a lot of young lads, they're probably looking up to these people thinking it's cool doing all this stuff, like you see it all the time, kids riding motos on the streets and probably doing like the same what I was doing, but I think it's gotten heaps bigger because of social media. I know this guy's got millions of followers.
This is the thing, you can kind of make it by doing the bad path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then, they listen to the music. But then you look at like how they're filming these music videos, and it's exactly like what I would be doing, burnouts in cars, balaclava it up. You know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, young lad looking at that is thinking that's cool,
That's way cooler than having, a pregnant missus and like a construction job 60 hours a week,
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Again, it's hard to sell that, isn't it?
Yeah. That's right. It's very hard. But that's just, then you would look at the trouble, like a lot of guys probably go inside and stuff, and then I know a lot of people think that it's a bit of a clout thing, going to jail and coming out, I've just done some time or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it makes you tougher or whatever. I've just always known, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, why would you? Because I feel like you don't have much time, right? Time goes quick. So why would you want to spend your time there when you can be here?
Yeah.
Look at this, bro. We get to be here, like.
This is the other thing. I think you mentioned it before. Like, those kids, those people who are doing that version of you that was doing that stuff.
Yeah.
This is actually a question I had because I'd spent the night in Shell Harbour. And it's such a strange place in some sense because it's such natural beauty. I mean, again, look at where we are. But there's a lot of the ugly side of society as well. There's these big industry plants and mines and concrete quarries and stuff. And my mind wondered, like, if that had a bit to play with it. Because if it's just all natural beauty, you have to love life almost. Where if you can see natural beauty and you probably see the rich white people that are blonde and gorgeous and they have heaps of money and like they're living that life, but I have to go to work construction or I have to go to work in the plants or something. And it almost makes it worse that you see the comparison.
Yeah.
Do you think that plays a part in the whole vibe of the place and these kids' lives?
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good question, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're not all in this together.
Yeah.
Some people are up in this
100%.
beautiful life and then I'm in this ugly life.
Yeah.
It's like this resentment.
And then they just...
Because then they don't come
start,
here.
That's right. Then they just keep doing that. Probably, man. When you like grow up, you're like, this is my life. Like, it's going to be hard to get to, rich, the rich mansion and that. Yeah. I'm just going to keep doing this. I know a lot of people that it's in that sort of world, they just don't want to do better. And like, it's easy just to get Centrelink. It's easier to just get a housing commission house, pay low rent because.
Yeah. It's this thing called cognitive dissonance, I believe, where our mind is really good at whatever we're doing, making it the easiest option.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are stuck in housing commission, you're stuck in low paid jobs or whatever it is, it's easier to just make that, this is actually what's good. And those people that live beautiful, nice, rich lives, they're fake, they're whatever.
Because what you see, you're just telling yourself that this is good, isn't it? True? Like you're just tricking yourself, saying this is the better life than what they're doing.
Interesting. So I guess how are you, now that because you're taking mainly young people that were in a similar boat to yourself back in the day, right?
Yeah, disadvantage, like, just trying to be, mentor. So I got a couple of lads that were doing similar to what I was doing, and I just got to be a good role model for them and then keep them, so which is mean camping, which is just step, dipping their feet into this is, look how cool this is. Look at this. Why would you want to go steal cars? Why would you want to go, breaking entities? Why would you want to go do that when you can do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're seeing the smile on their face. And it could be easy as like going fishing, right? Take on a fishing charter. How good's that? Then they go get their own fishing rod. Then they go fish down the lake by themselves or with their mates. Instead of going, there's something like that. It's just getting different outlets.
Well, therefore, you're kind of, if we take that model of I'm a kid who doesn't think he has access to that rich, beautiful life.
Yeah.
You're the one who's opening the curtain. Hey, look here.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't live in a mansion on the beach, but maybe you buy a $20 fishing rod and you can be fishing at that same beach.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't cost $2 million to come to Bushrangers Bay and swim with some grey nose sharks. It's literally free.
Diving. Go dive and have a look. And it's like mind blowing. Yeah. This is showing there's different experiences out there. And that's right. You got the best view, right? You have all this view where there's houses 4 million, whatever, but you can go there for free and sit at the front.
Yeah.
And pay nothing. Same thing,
Right. It's beautiful to just show these kids.
Just to show them. Kids and people in there, and even young adults, and everyone on social media, they go, look at what you're doing now, and is it lifting you, or is it, dragging you down? And look what you can be doing. I'd say this with the traveling aspect. A lot of, young 20-year-olds and that will just go spend all their money in town. But I go, why would you do that when you can have 2 weeks off town, go to Bali, go to Vietnam, live like a king, and actually experience?
I've seen you post those videos because you just said $1,500. I think I saw one was like $600.
Yeah.
Mate, that's flights.
Yeah.
Plus a few nights accommodation, plus meals and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, mate, that's just the best.
But again, if they haven't seen that, haven't had access to it, that's for other people, not me. Yeah. I'm stuck in this hole.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. But that's what I can put, even and it's crazy how I'm just going to put it up. And it's crazy how many people would share it. Crazy how many people would actually watch it and get actually value out of it. I'm just like, bro, you're spending $500 a weekend in town. You're getting a sore head. You can't remember much. Have 2 weekends off. You can go to Vietnam for a week.
Yeah.
Live like a king and actually experience,
Do you think that there's anyone truly deep down who wants to take that bad path? Or do you think everyone who's on that bad path is basically just thinks they're stuck there and thinks that's the only path for them?
I think they all just think they're stuck, and it's easier to make money illegally as well, quicker than it is to actually work. And then, but some of them are stuck because of who they hang out with. Is a big one, massive one, where they maybe live in. If they're surrounded by that kind of world and they don't hang around with people that are going to be more positive. Sometimes, you can't fault the person that's going to be brought up in a family or be brought up in an area where that's all happening around them, unless they can, take it on themselves. I don't want to do this. Yeah. It's, I know a lot of people don't want to be in that, don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. But, one thing leads to another. It's I started stealing chocolate bars to stealing push bikes, the clothesline, shoes from the front. It just kept bigger. And then next minute, you're stolen cars. Next minute, you're breaking into shops and all that kind of stuff. But then, eventually people are going to get on drugs.
Yeah. Maybe in that sequence of events, that slippery slope, if along the way they're seeing Ngatai's reels, maybe it slows them down a bit. Yeah. Maybe it makes them
think. It makes them think. That's what I want to make them think. Make them just oh, look at this. Look at there's other avenues, and then I can just I'm not saying my life's the best, but it's better than what it was. Better than, and just to make the most of life and actually being happy and actually experiencing life for what it's actually worth, not just a life of destruction. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
There's something on masculinity where that masculine testosterone energy, it builds the world. It also destroys the world.
Yeah.
And and it basically has to do one of those two options,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
If it's not building, it's
Yeah.
going to be destroying. If it's not destroying, it's going to be building.
That's mad. Yeah.
And I guess that's fundamentally what this is all about, right? Like, if someone feels like the only way they can be masculine, have an impact in this world, build the life they want is through the path of destruction, it's flipping that narrative into one of construction.
Yeah. That's mad. Yeah.
Yeah. A few poetic lines there for me.
That's good, hey. I love that. Build the world or destruct. Yeah, that's pretty right. I don't know. I want to be the one that builds the world, you know, or every male. And I look at the power, like physical fitness, the power of being in a better environment. I'm writing this new ebook about all these principles that help me get to where I am.
Epic.
And yeah, obviously fitness, the environment, you know, being grateful as well, being content with what you have.
On that, because this is a huge thing, I think this makes it harder to sell. You're not probably going to get 1 million followers tomorrow because you're not, and I hope this doesn't sound offensive, but you're not in a $5 million house on the beach. You're not driving around it's very easy to listen to that guy say how good, you know, don't go to jail, do this because look at me now.
Yeah.
But if look at me now is quite a normal life, it's harder to sell, but it's so much more impactful if you do buy into it, because most people, basically all of us, it's not that we couldn't get that stuff.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that there's so much sacrifice of peace of mind, of relationships, of just time and to get to that.
Yeah.
For most of us, I don't actually think it's a price you're actually willing to pay if you see what people that get there pay for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then being happy, finding that gratitude, defining your own success as a normal thing. How have you gone about that? Is that something that you've had to play with and consider?
Tide's coming up,
Tide's coming up.
Eesh.
And now I'm on a rock. So we're same things. So.
Oh, yeah, you were pretty good there.
Yeah. So I was
that was good. The question.
I guess maybe a simpler way to frame it is we hear stories and they're big and popular, usually from America, of maybe some guy who did really do bad, like go to jail for something crazy and then he's out of it and now he's a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's such a difference, it's, oh my God, we can't help but look at it. But for you didn't do something crazy. You didn't go to jail. It was whippersnippers and like, you know, stealing cars. And now you're not this multi-millionaire crazy. And again, like you're living a normal life, but that is so much more relevant for, even though it might not sell as good.
Yeah.
It's so much more relevant for basically everyone who is going to live a normal life and is not, I see a lot on social media and whatnot. It almost drives people into such senses of inadequacy because they're not living these crazy mansion lives. And when they think about it, and it's probably operating subconsciously, there's stuff you have to sacrifice in order to get there.
Yeah.
Is for most of us not worth it, I think. Right? So on your path of just having gratitude and enjoyment of life, even if it looks on the outside like a normal life, that's such a powerful message in my opinion. And so I think that's the thing that interests me most about you. Does that come naturally? Is that something you have to work in and against? And
it is. Obviously, growing up, we didn't have much, and we just had to live with what we had.
Yeah.
And just I've always been like that. Like always, got to be grateful for what you got. I think that's a lot in the Māori culture. Be grateful to what you got. And like I said, I've travelled to a lot of places as well. And man, these people are more happier than me. You'd know, you go to these third world countries, man, these guys are on 2 hours a day, you know, and they're happy as.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just puts that in perspective. But I've always, had that always be grateful what I've got. And that's what I've been trying to, push on my content too, that, yeah, you might not have all these millions of dollars and you might not get this big ass house, or some people get upset because they didn't buy a house in time, in their 30s, they think they're a failure or something, but it's not always, that's not going to bring you happiness either. It's always be grateful around you, what you got, and which I explain in my book, that being content is a true happiness. I feel like look at this. This is nothing, bro. How happy. We walk down here smiling, yeah?
Yeah.
And I reckon like social media, it has its positive and negatives, right? And if we didn't have social media, how many people would know that there was this many, what do you say, millionaires or whatever, all this success.
It's true.
Back in the day, like, people were probably much more happy because
they're comparing themselves to the 2 millionaires in Shell Harbour, not the 200,000 in Australia, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that you also see that in dating, right?
Yeah.
People are so much less satisfied with their partners, whether it's romantic or sexual partners even. It's so much harder to get a mate long-term or short-term, because now you're competing against not the people in your town.
Yeah.
Like, are you hotter than him, or are you a better potential father and whatnot than him or her? It's like, no, it could be from Sydney, it could be from this and this, online, a fake person, you know?
Yeah, that's right. You can all date online. You can get access to everyone in the whole world, or whatever. And me and my partner actually always talk about, we're like, man, like, what happened to the day? A lot of people don't stick together not long anymore, eh? And she's like, yeah, well, because they think it's green on the other side.
Yeah.
And it's harder it's easier just to, especially like family, having kids and that, it's easier just to, like she was explaining, it's easier for people just to give up, because you can have split the kids, you can have time
on your own,
you can have time, and then, you know, and it's just like, but you got to go through that struggle, and that's what, you know, keeps us together. And that's the thing with social media, you don't see what's behind the screen. Too, don't you feel like? You see what they paint their picture or whatever, but behind that, you don't know what's going on.
I think that's the exact same. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's the exact same story as kids, disadvantaged youth and stuff. It's so much more glamorous to chase the rappers and do the burnouts and have these fancy cars, this fast life.
Yeah.
Compared to what you're selling is, that looks like just a normal life. Whatever, that's boring, you know? But you're way happier than those others. It's the same with, you know, sticking with someone or not. Like, okay, it's so much more. I can, you know, have sex with who I want, and I can have time my own, and then time with the kids, and I have best of both worlds. But you actually have the worst of both. Like, none of either.
It ends up being, you think at the time, yes, it's so good, but then it ends up actually being a lot worse.
It's a big quote
later on,
been trying to drill into myself because of what's been going on in my own life.
Yeah.
Another story this year. Because I'm young and I'm hooked into social media, and I definitely have this, maybe it's an arrogance of thinking, I know that having best of both worlds is hard, but I think I'm good enough to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think an antidote to that is, I liked how you said the grass is greener on the other side. It's actually not. It's just greenest where you water it.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one, eh? Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's...
You're going to use that one?
That's a good one, yeah. No, that's very impactful.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying. Wherever you are, you can always water where like, you know, whatever you're doing in life. And I read a lot of books. I like to listen to old people as well. Like, you know, they've had their time, you know, and I read some books on, like, good ones, like, The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Man, this book's, like, always come back to it. And just no mention at all about money, no mention at all about, anything that's got to do financially. It's all about the time you spend with. Don't work yourself to the grave.
Yeah.
People, and actually doing what you want to do. You know, do what you want to do. Now, like a lady who's in there saying she was in a relationship with her husband and she just done whatever he wanted, never done stuff for herself.
Yeah.
And she's near her deathbed and she's like, I wish I just done a life that I wanted to do. So just, I love reading that kind of stuff. Love getting the content about, all right, different, how do you explain it? Like, you know, different perspectives of happiness for people. And a lot of them say it's about, like I said, wherever you are, you know, wherever you're watering your grass, making the most of where you are. That's a massive one, making the most of where you are. And you're always going to have those temptations, bro. Like, you know, I sometimes I got my Hilux. Yeah, man. Like, I always wanted a Hilux, you know. I'm driving the street. I see a better Hilux. I see a Land Cruiser. I'm like, but, you know, and I'm in this car. People are probably looking at me going, oh, look, he's got a Hilux. You know what I'm saying? It's a traits of humans. Always going to have that envious, always going to want more. Or you never have, you got to always have enough.
Yeah.
Which another book I read, and this guy is wealthy. Another guy's wealthy, and this other guy's just keep more billions, you know. And this guy says, "Well, I'm happy because I have enough." This guy wants.
I have way more money than him because I have enough and he doesn't.
That's right. Yeah. So, but I've been big on like time, man. Big on like using my time well, like knowing that. And I listen to like a lot of other stuff. Time goes quick. I look back at like 15 years ago, I was 20. And look back 15 years now where I'm at, and 50, like it was like that, you know. Look back another 15, I'm going to be 50. And then how long left you got after that? Another 20, 30 years, you know.
It's kind of cooked.
I was, and then obviously when I'm down this path of like stop drinking and stuff, I have so much time on the weekends to do the stuff I actually enjoy, like waking up 6 a.m, training. I'm thinking to myself, man, I've missed like 5 Christmases, just hung over, sleeping all day, just thinking like that.
Yeah.
And then all the Christmases I've been spending, I'm thinking, wow, with my family. Yeah, man, like Christmas Eve parties are big around here, you know. You go out and I'd sleep the whole Christmas day because I've just had that much of a big night. I'd wake up at 6 at night and miss the whole day 2 times.
Yeah.
But, yeah, time's a big one. I'm glad now, like, that I know where I'm like, same with like hanging around my friend, like the friends. I had a big friends group. Like, I love them all and that, but I just can't have that much time and energy to give to everyone because I've got my own family. I've got stuff for myself, business. So I'm big on like, you got to have time for yourself, time for your inner health, happy, doing like the hobbies that you love.
So what does that actually look like? Like when you're buying back all this time and prioritizing your life, how are you feeling it?
So now obviously train and then you gotta have your balance, right? You gotta have your balance where I have my family, myself, and then family, friends, myself, and like work. Always want to have my training, always get training, love my training. But then always like doing my hobbies that I enjoy, fishing or diving, camping, or, you know, take my kids out. They're like my main, and then obviously my jiu-jitsu, getting them into trying to make sure at least once a week, try to do the activity that you love, you know, try to do an activity you love. That makes you happy. That's different to like work or different to, I remember I used to always try to go be around someone, always have someone with me to do something. And it's only like the last few years, like it's having like time for yourself, you know, an hour or 2 hours. If I don't go train, like just go, I'm going for a walk by myself.
Yeah.
Me and my missus, we have this sort of good balance. Like you have an hour to yourself, I have an hour to myself, look after the kids. I'll go walk the beach by myself. I'll go have a coffee by myself. That's massive, you know, just to go by yourself. I'm going to go down the rock pools and go swim by myself. Back in the day, like people would be like, "Oh, who you with?" You know, like it was a thing. Like you had to have you by yourself. Like, "Oh, you're a loser" or something. Yeah. You know, I feel like you had to always be with someone. By myself, bro. You know, just self-love. I think is a big one. Traveling's the best. You know, solo backpacking by yourself. What you gotta do. A lot of people won't do it because they're just scared of being by themselves. Well, they don't know no one. I feel like, hey.
I always struggled with that one because, man, I was 18 and then 2 weeks later I was in Guatemala on my own.
Yeah.
And it's always been so obvious to me the benefits of that. I think there is a trap on the other side. If you go too far into it, too far into this kind of, I'm learning to love myself and I'm improving myself, but it's lonely. And I think nowadays I'm on a path of actually finding people to
Finding
hang out
people,
with
100%.
and having
Yeah.
and sharing and loving and whatnot. But
You definitely, humans, you definitely have connection.
But-
We are social creatures, you know. We always
Yeah.
got to we've come from tribes. We've always been social.
I definitely think there's a strong argument, and I guess I'm super biased, but I think whatever love and connection you can offer to people when you are with them, it's going to be stronger, more genuine, more authentic, and at least healthier, because it can come from the very loving, intenseful spot.
Yeah.
But if you haven't known how to love yourself and be with yourself, it might just be a bit too, emotional, a bit too codependent stuff creeps in.
Yeah.
So even if someone who has never been on their own does love or connect with a friend or whatever really strongly, that's when I often see weird, toxic drama, all sorts of stuff going on. Whereas someone who knows exactly how to be on their own is good with themselves, when they connect and love, it's a lot calmer. It's a lot more beautiful.
Yeah.
It's almost like put that first and then afterwards you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So how is, because I mean, you mentioned a bit, but I imagine fatherhood changed everything.
It did, man. It didn't take, like, I'm going to be honest, but like at the start, because I was a party man, right?
Yeah.
And my missus, I'm pregnant. I'm like, all right, I need to get my partying out of the way before baby comes. So I was, no shit. She was like, yeah, you better, because naked 2 pump is no more, right? No shit. She's like, so I'm going out every weekend, partying, bedroom before baby came. Yeah. Bless my missus. I can't believe she's freaking stuck on me. Anyway.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And then the baby came. I'm all right, cool. And I had like a month off. I had a big wet the head. Had to get carried home. And then I had a month off.
Wait, what's that?
Wet the head?
Yeah, what's
When
that?
you have a baby, wet the head of the baby. Like,
baptism.
But at the pub.
Oh!
Yeah.
What? With beer?
Beer. Not wet the baby's head, but you and all your mates, whatever, you go celebrate by getting blind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
Wet
know
the
that.
head.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I'd done that, and I got carried home at 9 o'clock in the night. So we started at whatever time.
So the baby comes out in the hospital.
Week later, wet the head. Yeah.
A week later, you're getting smashed. Yeah.
And then I was meant to slow up my drinking and that. It lasted a month when I was just back to doing the thing, going out nearly every weekend.
Baby's at home, but you're
baby's home, my wife. Yeah. So I go to work all week. My escape was, and the baby wasn't. I'm thinking, baby's not doing much. I'm bored. I need to go do. It's the same drinking and every weekend, and then me and Mrs. would have a clash and nearly. And then I was looking at like that. It was like my dad sort of was. He just really bad, like drinking. Really, he drank a lot.
Yeah.
And then, man, it took me a while, like, to snap out of that phase. Maybe I was just telling myself, and like, telling my missus, I'm still going to go out, I'm still going to go out. They can't change me. Or having a baby ain't going to change who I am. And then I went on a 3-day bender, and come home, and my missus kicked me out. And I'm thinking, well, because one of the mates passed away and we just partied. I thought nothing of it. And she kicked me out, and I was like coming down, and then I'm thinking, far out, like I'm nearly like destroying my family so I can go and drink for 3 days,
Was it in your head that was just like your dad?
Yeah, a little bit. In my head was like, I'm still thinking, why are you so angry? Why you kick me out? Like, I don't do anything wrong. And she's like, you just feel 3 days. you got a baby here, and you've just been drinking the whole 3 days. Oh, yeah, I still like, and I'm like, meant to slow down, I'm being a dad,
Yeah.
It took a while. I stopped bending. I said, you guys bend anymore? Yeah, no more. And then the drinking still continued, but it wasn't as frequent as it used to be. Maybe like every few months have a big night. But then, I just wanted to be the best dad I could be. And drinking made me hungover a few days. I wasn't being the best dad I can be, yeah.
Did you have an ideal of what the best dad you could be was?
I love my dad, and I just wanted to be better than what my dad treated us. But he treated us like pretty good, but sometimes he had the dark side as well. So a lot of it was, and then I wanted to, my partner's dad, he was a really good dad, my father-in-law. Take some values from him, take some values from my dad, the good bits, and then try to package that and try to be the best dad I can be. But once I quit the drinking and that, or stop the drinking, that's when I could be the best dad I could be.
So did you fully just quit drinking?
Now 9 months.
Okay.
No more. I haven't drank 9 months, and I'm trying to be the best dad I can be, best role model, best.
Did you think
to give them a lot of time for them, little time I can for my kids?
Behind that decision to quit drinking, is that supposed to be like lifelong now? Is that just for now?
I think it's going to be lifelong. I was going to aim for a year. But what I've done since I was not drinking to where I am now, like I've just felt like, well, it's way more positive. Yeah. And I don't want to go back to, because a lot of it was the come downs from the big nights. I'd drink and I would start smoking, vaping, and then I'd get on the drugs, recreational drugs, and then I'd have a week to recover.
Yeah.
And I'd be a shit dad on the couch. Won't train, eat crap, and I'd go in a dark hole and depressed and think about what am I doing with my life, all them thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it just can't recover like I used to, and I got responsibilities, so it just wasn't worth it. But what I've been doing the last 9 months, doing jiu-jitsu, having so much more time to do the stuff I love, being like a good dad to my kids.
How much of you is, if any, scared of slipping back into that? Is that
none
a motivator?
Nah, none at all now. At first it was hard telling everyone that you stop drinking and that. They're like, just like, oh, you're going for one of these phases, your life of the past. Oh, I don't know. Just telling people that you're not drinking, that was probably the hard bit.
But you do trust yourself to stick with it?
Yeah. We got to have that strong thing, Got to have that. I tried to quit for a year one time. It lasted 2 weeks, and people were laughing at me. And like, I just got to have it and just realize like, how's your life looking because you've quit for so long? Look at that.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting it on anyone else, have a beer, enjoy yourself. But for me, it was like my quality of life is like decreased because when I get drink and party. Don't get me wrong, I love drink and party, love that fun, but the aftermath, and I try to do the couple of beers here and there. Just couldn't work. I just went from 2 beers to 3 beers, and then midnight to 6 a.m. coming home.
Do you think you'll get to a point, whether it's in a few years or wherever, where you can start to, I guess, drink in a balanced way?
Nah.
No.
I just don't want, I just feel like I don't want to. Because that's probably just how it starts. Because I've been like, 20
that's
years.
The chocolate bar.
20 years, yeah. That's right, the chocolate bar.
That's still in the chocolate bar. You
20
don't
years. I started one, I've always just been a binge drinker. I just drink to get effed up,
Yeah.
Now it's just, being focused on being like the best dad I can be, best husband I can be. Obviously, I've still not perfect, but trying to, be the best version of myself. And
I guess like there's a certain element of that getting fucked up and escaping and whatnot that is so alluring. And, right now things might be good, but if things go bad for whatever reason, I guess my mind asks the question of if you haven't replaced that with something else that can give you a similar sensation, it's risky. Because it might be like, oh, I don't need to escape. I don't need to get effed up if life's good. But the next time, which is inevitable, life is not so good. That's the only thing I know how to escape with and get effed up with. Like, are there other things that you might be able to get the same benefit from that aren't that? For instance, maybe go on super deep freediving or something. Is that a good enough replacement?
Yeah, it'd be like a lot of the outdoorsy stuff that I love. Exploring and going to camping, freediving, fishing. I got a little boat. Take my boat by myself, go fish, like just something like that. That's my best escapism. Or if just go on the gym, man. I love always training. I go gym, pump weights for over an hour. It's just change. It's just change, big change. Like, yesterday I was not having the best days. Bad sleep, and the daughters, everyone's like, the house is, everyone, like daughter's
Chaos.
crying, bit of chaos.
Yeah.
I sort of get out for an hour, go train.
Mm.
Man, I'll be a whole new man. And I come back, I'm like happy as, you know, it's
Mm.
just, that's my escapism.
Yeah.
Training, gym, jiu-jitsu, even go out the back, doing a bit of boxing, music, going for a walk,
Yeah.
catching up with someone, a mate for a coffee, catching up, having a chat, having a laugh.
The brain chemistry is good for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you share this through obviously your business, taking these boys out to do this stuff, the social media, Curtis and I were talking yesterday a lot about it. Have you suffered it doesn't seem like you're trying to necessarily be the biggest influence in the world and monetize and stuff, but have you still suffered from burnout and playing with the algorithm, or are you just not even thinking about that? Are you trying to play the social media game, or to what extent are you?
My biggest thing is just to try to give as much value.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously, and then I'll look back. Yeah, it does. You do get a little bit burnt out, but I look at it well, if we're going to go on Instagram and scroll, spend hours, why not be a producer of something then consuming it?
Yeah.
Right. And whatever comes out of it. And obviously, if you do it when you don't love it, then you probably weren't going to do it, are you?
No.
Well, sometimes I'll just make a video and laugh at myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just get it. I'm going to look back and go, oh, look at it, you know, maybe I'm just making a whole album of me and then show my kids, you know, if I need to have a laugh, I'll just look at me and go, oh, you're a dickhead, you know, sometimes. But for me, yeah, maybe it just, if I can, on a larger scale, I'll look back and if I can make the most impact, cool. If I could do this and make a living and making a positive living, that'd be mad, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be heaps good, you know?
It's a good funnel
that's
for
how it works,
out living, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If I can have me as my personal brand and have out living as the business side of things as well, which I've been to do speaking engagement at some schools.
Mm.
Whatever, man. I don't really know where I'm going with it, but I just want to,
it's nice,
just want to
it's brilliant.
Get it out and get whatever's working. And if it's making more impactful, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Main thing. I'm a people's person. I love to help. Funny you say this, I've done a couple of genius test types, and have you heard of the human design tests?
I think so.
Yeah. Just seeing what, am I different?
DISC or?
One's the Myers-Briggs one.
Yeah.
Do that one, and it tells you your strengths and all that and what you're aligned to. And another one was the human design where you put all your details, and it shows you what your sort of same thing aligned, what your strengths, you know? Yeah. And it's pretty accurate. Tells you oh yeah, I've always sort of because in there it says you're a social person, you're a people's person, you get your energy from helping people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you get your fulfillment from helping people. And then it has it's ups and downs. For me, it's I help, try to help as much people as I can, and I do it for nothing, which it takes a lot of my time.
Mm.
And then I miss out on time with my family, and then my missus you go and help everyone else more than you'll help us, you know, sometimes, which is a bad thing. Well, my family are the most important. But I love to help random people. If someone's pulled up in the car, I'll pull over. You know?
Yeah.
Someone needs help somewhere. I think it's just human instinct to go help anyway.
That's definitely an interesting one. I've spoken about this before. Because, I definitely always feel, I think every entrepreneur in a sense feels this desire to give value to the masses.
Yeah.
Right? Just humanity. Yeah. But that's an outer circle. And then, you often sacrifice time and energy with that inner circle.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of successful people they might be good successful people, not, disgusting bankers or something, but startups and really good, but they still end up divorced because they were so busy serving everyone else.
Yeah.
They didn't serve that.
That's right. You're right there.
How do you play that balance?
Well, that's what I gotta really, I just have to structure my days where I've got the time with the kids, trying to, push the content for people or go for the outliving. But I'm lucky my life's pretty flexible.
Yeah.
I always got to have my support my guidance, my mentoring for the participants I have. That's what gives
That's
it
the bread and butter.
bread and butter.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have my family, my kids, my wife, and then it's a balance. It's a balance.
Yeah.
I can't get too, I have like time limits on like my Instagram.
Yeah.
You're only spending this much and the screen time. That's it. It'll cut it like it tells me that's enough. Oh, that's it for that. And then my family, I always take my kids out for a play or whatever they need. I'll read a book, whatever I can give them, and the wife.
Yeah.
Try as much as I can do, me and her. And she's like, got a busy life and has to get her boxes ticked off as well. Same thing, like make sure my training is done. And then catching up with some friends during the week. So you always got to have that balance.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed, because I definitely looked at what you're doing with the business and everything. I thought, I wonder if he's thinking about scaling it. And then I read an article in my research, and you have scaled it before, but then didn't want to. Like, what's the goal?
Yeah, you're right there. I did have for Outliving, I had 5 employees, and then I had over 20 participants. And because I went from employee to sold to like the company, like all that aspect was all new to me, and I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I missed out on a lot of the fun stuff. I was more like back, you go do that, do this, do that. And then
managerial role.
Yeah. And I'm like, nah, man, like I want to go out and do the stuff.
Yeah.
Like I want to be out there doing the fishing, doing the camping, doing that. So I just sort of
there's
just
no way
backscaled.
to, or maybe in the
made
future.
sure all the participants, maybe in the future, maybe in the future, just make sure the participants are all looked after. And then I just sort of like now it's just sort of like me as a sole trader, but I get contractors in if I need to, if we do big group stuff. Cause I'm an active person. I got to be out. I got to be out. I can't just be like, I like to have fun too,
Yeah.
delegating or do this and that. That's probably not, I need to be out there and having fun, and as well as being hands-on, one-on-one mentoring or even in groups. I love that stuff.
And even that little decision there to downscale from that is, I guess, what I was getting at when I was saying it's not the mansions, it's the normal life, but really appreciating that.
Yeah.
Because if you're giving so much value to the world and these clients, right, it's natural. The whole world tells you, well, you can hire 5 people, and then you can be making more money, and then you can, you work, and then you scale, and then you open up another thing, and then suddenly you are in the mansion.
Yeah.
But again, in all that, you've sacrificed
a lot.
what you wanted to do, which was camping and fishing.
Yeah.
With the people, hands on.
Yeah.
When you're at the top of the hill, you can't.
Yeah.
Have you heard the story of the Mexican fisherman?
No, what's that one?
So this is really you, and you're the Mexican, I think, in a sense. So there's a fishing town in Mexico, right? And there's a guy, and you've probably seen this, right? Has his house, has his wife, his kids, his family, goes out fishing every morning, comes back, spends the whole day just cooking up the fish, and they fish just enough to eat, and then maybe a bit more to sell for whatever they need around the house. But really, that's it, subsistence living. And then this rich American businessman comes down on holiday, and he's watching the Mexican fisherman in a few days, sees his life, and he's like, hey, you're really good at this. You're really good at fishing. You care about it. You should hire other fish, and then you can catch more fish, and then you can spend that money on a boat, and then you can have 2 boats, and then you can do all this. And the Mexican fisherman's asking, like, why would I do that? Well, then you can get 2 boats. So why would I do that? Then you can catch even more fish to buy 3 boats. Why would I do that? You have a fleet. Then, okay, why would I do that? Then you have a factory. Why would I do that? Then you have a place in America. Like, he's doing this thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why would I do that? That sounds like a lot of work. It's like, well, yeah, because at the end, you'll be so rich that you can come down and live in Mexico the rest of your life, and all you have to do is fish. It's like, but that's what I'm doing.
No, yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And it's like,
oh, well, that's mad.
And I think
I've sort of heard it.
You've heard it said better than I said.
I think I read it. Yeah. Yeah.
So
he's already doing that anyway.
Yeah, you'd be
even to sacrifice all
you're
that
sacrificing
time.
your happiness for this idea that's been thrown onto you of success.
Yeah.
Because you think the success is going to give you happiness, which is what you already have.
Yeah. That's 100%.
And I think you're a great example of living that out.
Yeah.
Without you necessarily
sacrificing that. Not necessarily sacrificing a lot, when you already,
Yeah.
I always say how grateful I am where I'm at now. I don't know how it's going to last like this forever, but you don't know, everything's always changing.
Sure.
But I always trying to grow, you know.
No, I love it, man.
They're always trying to, like, I don't know how long, if outliving, because I obviously work with the government and it's funded, don't know how long that funding is going to be around for. But I always got to, you know, look outside the box too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't complain. Happy as, man. Happy as, like, well, yeah, you're right, Bo. Like, why sacrifice all that to be back at the happiness? Because what? Because they're selling you the big, look at this, you can have all this, look at this. I've got friends that are working, you know, long hours and everything like that to have all this, the house and stuff, the car and that, they don't really get much time. You know, they don't get much time to enjoy. They're doing big hours at work or whatever. You know, obviously they're probably doing it to set themselves up, which is good. But
I think the idea is that you do all that so you have time later.
yeah.
But then do you want that time later, A? And B, this is what I've found for myself. When I start to get in that mode of sacrificing almost everything now, especially time-wise, for this idea of later.
Yeah.
Because it's so against my nature, I actually end up spending a lot more money, for instance.
Yeah.
So you can work really hard so you earn money. So then you save it, invest it and whatnot, so you have that time later.
Yeah.
But because I hate the present, I spend money now to like make it a bit better, to make it endurable, right? Which means I'm actually not doing the same investing that I should be doing. Whereas maybe I do something that I have more time and freedom and so I make less money. But sometimes I actually save more of it because I don't, if I'm living like this all day, I don't need to spend, what am I going to spend money on?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't need the fancy car. I don't need whatever you can spend money on because I'm loving my life.
Yeah.
You only start to spend money when you don't love your life.
That's right.
It's a strange thing I'm dealing with.
It's, you're right, man.
Because you can only be sold to if you have a problem, right? Like, I'm selling you this piece of clothing. I'm selling you this house. I'm selling this car under the promise that it will give you happiness.
Yeah.
If you already have the happiness, it just rolls off the duck's back.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what I when I was younger, right? And everyone else around me had the cool toys and it's like, oh man, I can't wait to have money so I can get all these. But then where I'm at now is like, hang on a minute, the stuff that costs me no money is the shit that makes me happy. You know, being with my family, my friends, or going fishing with a rod that costs whatever, $100, whatever, or, you know, diving, camping.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do. Now, Dan Brazilian talks about it. He's like $300 million, whatever $1 million he got. He goes, I have everything. I got money and all that, but what makes me happy is going for a surf.
Yeah.
You know? Going down the beach. 100%. Those are things that make me happy. And that's true. Like, well, obviously, you know, it depends on whatever hobbies you like. Even like, you know, training. You can go train for free along the beaches. I do outdoor training. That makes me so happy. Going to the beach, just sitting there looking at the water.
100%.
And I bet you'll be like, you know, even if you have, I mean, like some, you know, not saying some weeks I made that when I worked, I made like really good income, more than like what I've ever made. It didn't change a thing to me. It felt like, I'm like, well, I made more money this week than I've ever like made in a month. But it didn't change. It didn't change. Didn't feel, you know, obviously I love the travel and things. So you need money to travel, you know, overseas and that kind of stuff. But I know that, and I like same thing. I like read books on very successful people, millions and billions. They go like, same thing. The things that makes them happy is this shit doesn't cost them money, you know?
No, exactly.
You got to find that happy medium, which, which, like you said, in what I'm doing ain't gonna, like you said, isn't gonna be like, oh, you know, the dream. Hey, look, here's the dream, guys. You know, like you see all the stuff all over social media, like, you know, you're going to make this much money, do this, you know, you see all the time, you know, you sell people the dream, you know. I've even been trapped in that thing, you know, with investors. Oh, look, you know, because you have a fantasy. Oh man, imagine if I can, you know, be wealthy, I can have all this. So you invest whatever money you have and it goes to crap. Get in, you know.
Crypto.
Yep. Crypto. Yeah. Crypto. You know, or you'll just, but what was I going to say? What else? Yeah, you have all that. But yeah, like what I do, look what I'm doing, you know, and it's not costing you like money to be like happy or to be, you know, maybe I'm not going to say, oh, you're going to have $1 million. You're going to, whatever, you're going to be wealthy or whatever, you know, which the book, this is the thing that's going to make you a better version of yourself is doing these kind of stuff as a man, looking after yourself, being in a good environment, go and doing fun stuff that, you know, that you're actually going to remember.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
I think the important message that I've always got from people who've got really successful millionaires, all the rest of it, whether it's online, whether it's in person.
Yeah.
It's quite clearly not about the money. It's about who you become.
Yeah.
It's almost about the version of you that you unlock.
Yeah.
That is now able to earn $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Like that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is cool. Upskilling myself, figuring out about the world. How do I give value to the world in such a way that they'll give me back money?
Yeah.
It's not the money itself.
Yeah.
It's winning the lottery. No one respects the guy who won the lottery.
Nah.
Even though he's rich. People respect the guy who's made it, like, formed himself into this person who, if they lost it all, they could just make it back again because they're now that version of themselves.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to recognize, okay, there's a version of me, and I've always said this, there's a version of me who makes $1 million a year. I know that. I can see that in every single human on the planet, right? Whether it's through business of cafes, whether it's through support, whether it's through bloody OnlyFans. There's a version of every single human that can make $1 million a year. The question then becomes, like, is that what the path you actually want to do? Because again, success, money is such a clear game that everyone has to play to a certain extent. Everyone is playing that game.
You have to play the game.
You have to play it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And it's quite clear. Like, the more the better.
Yeah.
Like, the parameters of success have been cast upon you and then drawn out very clearly.
Yeah.
I think the real challenge, but the real beauty is being able to then redefine what success even means to you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I could make $1 million a year, but what am I sacrificing to do that? What do I actually want?
Yeah.
And then, okay, it might be a lot less money, but you know, I'm becoming that version of me that has a loving family and does what they like all day and is out in nature and or whatever that looks like.
100%.
It's quite brave to do that.
I think that's a big one. Like, say there's a lot of men out there that need help, right? And they probably think, oh, if I make X amount of dollars, that's going to fix me.
It's lazy.
Probably not, right?
I honestly think it's lazy to not cast the light of judgment upon yourself and look inside and be like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
Where do I actually want to go?
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother thinking about what do I actually want. I'm just going to say, what does society want me to do? Make money? Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a good starting point if you really can't figure anything out.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the answer to.
Yeah. No, you're right. 100%. I feel like if I was, you know, say, I don't know, be successful, make X amount of dollars or whatever, right? Like I said, everyone has to make money at down point. If you have something to give, you should get paid for it, you know? But imagine, like, if I had lots of money, imagine how many people I could help then as well. You know what I'm saying? You can help a lot more people, whatever that way is.
I've certainly seen a lot of people use that as a justification for following them, chasing the money, and then when they get there, maybe not necessarily doing it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. I wouldn't know because I'm not there, but
Yeah.
I know like my values, you know, whatever. I just know.
Yeah.
You could make schools or whatever. There's just so much you could do, but that's not my main reason at the moment. My main reason is to help. Like, if there's a lot of, like I said, 90%, I reckon 90% of people probably ain't going to reach that thing, but the best thing you do for, like, I like the men's space with, is to, you know, are you happy with the man you see in the mirror? Are you, you know, living the best version of yourself? Which I'd get a lot of messages of guys, you know, they just question themselves, you know, and are you living a life, like, you know, purposeful as well? We're all trying to find our purpose in life. Why are we here? But you can be the best dad. Your purpose could be the best dad. The best purpose you could be is to, fix your own health. You know, like what do you get? Like, if you have no purpose, I feel like you should make your health your purpose. You know, if you want to train, maybe your purpose is to travel. Maybe your purpose is to reconnect with people, or there's heaps of stuff you can. But like I said, it's always, and then again, your purpose always changes too. You know, when you're 16 or when I was 20, my purpose wasn't what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
True.
I think that's why those things like health, and to be fair, and those things like making money are good ones because they're going to help everyone to some extent. Yeah. It's nice, man. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you'd like to speak about?
Maybe, oh no.
A beautiful place to wrap up.
Maybe
Gorgeous.
Like with the men, like obviously the big on the men's space, right? Like have a look at I wanted to say this, that if any men out there is like struggling and we're all like, I'm sure you might have been through some dark times, you know, or a lot of guys go through, because this is life. It happens, ups and downs, right? You have financial difficulties, especially now. You have relationships. Man, someone passing away. It's going to happen. It's life. Someone close to you will pass away. And I feel like if there's any men out there that are actually struggling, that there is, obviously there's a lot of support out there, but any different circumstances as well, like it's probably all different, you know, and I feel like if you can actually look after yourself, which is doing the stuff that's going to make you happy, or actually, you know, how many guys out there maybe look in the mirror and they're not happy with what the man they see their whole life, you know, not with the body or something, you know, actually, you know, go and train, go and do something for yourself is a big one. Do something that's going to be more positive on you. Be happy, like be proud of yourself. Be proud. But I feel like a lot of men these days, we get stuck in that grind that they don't really take care of themselves because they're obviously, we're providers. We always got to take care of other people. Yeah. And I'm a really big believer, like you've got to go and do some things for yourself too, which could be, you know, fishing, could be go and play golf, you know, could be go on a trip. You got to do something for yourself. Like the guys these days are getting overworked, lots of pressure, but then they're not looking after themselves as in activity wise.
Well, because the ways that they're overworked, the ways that they're having to get resource are not healthy, natural ways. Back in the day, yes, there would have been just as much pressure to provide and would have had to work just as hard, but it was hunting in the forest and running around and riding horses. And that's actually healthy. Whereas now it's sitting in an office chair and getting really fat and immobile, or it's working on a trade site and just breaking your back. And
well, that's right. Well, then can we all go through? I'm not going to be judged. I always be like that. Go eat crap pies and, you know, go eat the crap food. And then the escapism, I'm going to be like this, is like, honestly, the escapism is man, pretty much escapist on the weekend. That's the escapism. But I feel like that's not setting you up for longevity, you know?
Yeah.
It's not setting you up for longevity, and you have to actually take care of yourself away from that, you know? I'm not saying to go do it, but like actually do stuff that's going to be well-being for you.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, go try some stuff, you know? I only started like freediving, really fishing like 4 years ago, I think. When my baby, because all I did was play footy, went to the gym.
Yeah.
Stopped playing footy, except when I was younger, I was doing like hobbies. But then when stopped playing footy, I just gym.
Mm.
And then on the weekends, go drink.
And the gym even has such a body image context these days. Like, I need to go to the gym because I need to look good, blah, blah, blah. And that's already kind of been hijacked. Just in like, am I going for myself or am I going for...
It's a good, if you are like, I feel like if you look in the mirror and you're like overweight or you're sluggish or that, but it doesn't have to be to go in the gym, just going for a walk. Yeah. Just any kind of physical fitness, I reckon, is going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
You know? Truly believe that you got us, you know, man, you have to challenge ourselves as well. So getting into, I've been doing like martial arts. Fishing is very challenging. Diving is challenging. Spearfish, that, you know, that's all growth, you know. Yeah. And we get too comfortable. If we get too comfortable, lazy, you just plod around. You know, you just don't really, you're not really growing. You just been another cog on the wheel and just repeat, you know, vicious cycle. Man, I drank every weekend for years, you know, and that was my escape. And I'm so glad with that living on the boys I looked after, they actually got me into fishing more. The diving, my mate was diving, he actually got me into diving, thinking I was just trying it, you know.
Mm.
People think I've been doing it for a long time, because I'm not an alright diver, but like, I only just started, a few years now, 3-4 years. But, you know, it's the best thing, being out here, being in nature. That's all I can say. Look after yourself. That's the best one, man. Just look after yourself. Look after yourself. And I'm big on positive energy. Maybe I think I'm woo woo or whatever, but like being around positive people, the good vibes, you know, ones that ain't going to try to drag you down. Yeah. That's the thing. Positive, even for your young, all the way up to, you're still going to have different circles, even to shit you consume. It's got to be like positive, you know, you're just consuming negative energy. Oh, mate, negative, any drama, conflict around, I just don't get involved with it, eh?
I love that, like, oh, mate.
Yeah.
Well, it just came to me that I think out of all the people I know and have come across, especially in the context of Australia, because you see it all the time from US, but you're probably the person who's lived or at least been in contact with a darker underside of Australia and suburban life that I've never had contact with. Yeah. And then have risen out of that into a very normal existence, but with such positivity, such grace, such great gratitude. I think there's just infinite lessons to learn from witnessing you, and I hope anyone who's got this far is going to give it an Ngatai Hetet to follow, but
yeah,
it's a great Insta page, and
thanks, bro.
Thanks so much for coming on. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Nah, it's cool. Thanks, man. You made me, you actually gave me a lot. You know, it's good for yourself, you know, to actually do this and maybe impact some people, when I've taught a lot just from you as well. Yeah. Appreciate it, eh?
Likewise.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Nah, it's been mad.
Mate, epic.